Welcome to the Bag Maker's Workroom. I am Chris with Simply Classic, and today is Thursday, March 27th, 2025. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us live tonight. Our theme is bag clasps and closures. So we go live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't join the live, watch the recording on YouTube at any time. Make sure you subscribe, click the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video or we go live. So we are, again, very thankful for you all joining us tonight. We want to say hello to everyone out there. Hi, Lynn. And Rose is here. Hello, everyone. And Joe is here. Hola, gotta love Thursday. Yes, you do. So here's what we have planned for tonight's live stream. First, I'm going to share some updates in the Simply Classic Scoop. And today we're doing something a little bit different. We have a special giveaway coming up at the beginning of tonight's episode. So we're going to get to that in just a minute. We're then going to talk about our featured product, which is the AllyBee pattern. I'm going to show you some recommendations for products that pair nicely together. And the Thursday thread will talk about the history of bag fasteners. Next, I'll do a demonstration with Grommets, and then we're going to feature our customers' bags in Artistry Avenue. And then, of course, at the end, we're going to do a Q&A and give away some PDF patterns of the AllyBee. So if you have any questions during the live stream, please ask them in the chat. Can't get to them right away, we'll save them for our Q&A at the end of the episode. So we are going to start out tonight with our Simply Classic Scoop. And this is the segment where we share what's new here at Simply Classic, what's going on behind the scenes, what events we're headed to. We just want to quickly mention the Stack Bag and Sew. You guys have heard us talk about this now for a while. It's in Sacramento, September 12th through 14th. Tickets and classes are on sale now, and you can check out the link on our events page or down below in the description if you would like to attend. We also want to give you a little bit more information about our Florida retreat. So this is a retreat that I'm doing with Barbie from Genie Designs. We're going to be at the Holiday Inn in Ruskin, Florida, which is in the Tampa area. It is October 23rd through 25th. And here's the new stuff. Tickets are going to go on sale April 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The registration is $1,000 per person. And basically what that includes is use of an industrial sewing machine. It's going to include all your class materials. You're going to have basically 3 projects you're going to do. You're going to have 2.5 days of education. You're going to have 2 lunches included and then 1 dinner. And the dinner is at Barbie and Tony's house. They're going to be cooking us dinner one night if you'd like to attend. Well, of course, we'd love if you did. If you've never sewn on an industrial machine before, this is really going to be a great class for you. The first day is going to be a half day, and so we're going to use that time to get you acquainted with your machines. There's going to be a quick project we do to help you get acquainted, and then basically on Friday and Saturday, Barbie and I will be teaching. We're each going to take a day and teach a class. Barbie will be teaching a faux leather or cork bag, and I'll be teaching a brand new leather bag. We are both going to be there the entire time to help out. Seats are limited. That's the only thing on this. We only have 11 machines, so there's only 11 seats available. So make sure that you set your alarms for Tuesday, April 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time if you would like to get in on that retreat. And of course, we would love to see you there. We still have some spots open in our Lacey class. This is a brand new class that I'm teaching for the first time in May. It is a virtual class, and it is for confident beginners who have worked with leather and just want to kind of learn some new techniques and skills. So what's included in the class is exclusive Simply Classic pattern, which is the Lacey. That's never going to be released outside of this class. You're going to have 6 pre-recorded video lessons, 3 live Zoom check-ins, lifetime access to your student portal. So if you took the Banda class, you're going to, now when you log in onto the portal, you're going to see the Banda and you're going to see the Lacey. And you're going to be able to access either one of those at any time. The class kit is also included, and the materials are Italian leather, kangaroo lace, stiffeners, hardware, a silver marking pen, and of course more. You know, we try to fill those boxes with all kinds of good stuff. The colors available from left to right on the slide are distressed russet, elephant gray, textured red, and then very dark brown embossed ostrich. So visit our events page or the link below to register for the Lacey. Now, this here is something new. We are going to do a couple of sew-alongs this spring. So we're going to do 2 of them, and they're going to be in April. We haven't done a live sew-along in a long time, so I'm pretty excited about this. So the first one is going to be the Simply Classic Clutch Sew-Along. This is going to be free. It's going to be live on YouTube. It is open to anyone who wants to join. The Simply Classic Clutch is a quilted clutch. It's great for beginners who've never worked with leather before. It's a really quick sew. I'll be making it in black Italian leather, and I'll be using my Grommets 08 machine to make it. So if you'd like to join, you have plenty of time to order the Italian Leather Makers Kit on our site if you'd like. That includes, of course, the leather and the lining to make your clutch. But you can also just buy the PDF pattern and work with whatever materials you have. It can be faux leather. It does not have to be leather. Either way, the construction is the same. You will have to prep your materials ahead of time. So what that means is you're going to have to cut out your pattern, interface all your pattern lining pieces, and then go ahead and cut your foam out so that we can get to quilting right away. It is 4 hours. It will be from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Again, Friday, April 11th, and that is Eastern time. And all you have to do is get on YouTube live at that time, and we will be there. The second one I'm doing is the Sienna, and the Sienna is going to be a private sew-along. So it is $29.99, and it includes a free Sienna pattern. We're actually going to do that on Zoom. It's going to be Tuesday, April 22nd at 1 o'clock Eastern time. We've allotted 4 hours for that as well. So, you know, the Zoom's going to be fun because we can go ahead and it's almost like we're going to be sewing together. You can keep your camera on or off, whatever you're comfortable with. No problem there. We're going to be doing some live drawings and giveaways and various prizes and coupons from the shop during that live stream. The Sienna has 3 size options. It has small, medium, and large. I'm going to be making the medium in burgundy faux leather, and you can see a completed one here. So we do not have maker's kits for the Sienna, but we do have hardware kits that you can purchase. So go ahead and check out the website. You're going to need to come with everything prepared, which means your pattern pieces need to be cut and stabilized. All of your lining will need to be cut and interfaced. Okay? So we hope we can see you there. So Diane asks, can we make the Simply Classic Clutch with a chain strap? Yes, you can. And that's a really quick and easy change. All you'll have to do is cut a couple of strap adjusters or strap connectors, fold them, and then go ahead and stitch them on the side. I had somebody do that in one of the classes I taught in Chattanooga. So if you'd like to join us for the live sew-along and make that adjustment, I can certainly, you can ask questions and I can help you through doing that. I'd be happy to do it. It's really an elegant bag, and I think it'd be really great to make as an evening bag and add that chain. I think it'd be fantastic. So I want to remind you that this week is the final week to subscribe to our quarterly mystery subscription box. So at the beginning of the episode, I mentioned that we're going to have a special giveaway, and that's what we're going to do now. We're going to give away 1 quarterly mystery subscription box. So due to shipping, the giveaway is open to U.S. residents only. But if you're international, hang on. We're going to do a PDF pattern giveaway at the end. So, stick around. You could still possibly win that. So to enter, all you need to do is type the word mystery in the chat. Okay, so if you want to win a quarterly mystery subscription box, type the word mystery now. Please just type it one time. The computer will pick you up if you do it one time. Okay, it's super smart. And then again, this is open to U.S. residents only. So I'm going to give you a minute to kind of do that. And while you're doing that, I will tell you a little bit more about the quarterly mystery subscription box. So every quarter, you're going to receive a box that looks like this. It's going to have that cool tape on it, and it's going to say mystery box, and you're going to have access to a new Simply Classic pattern. Now, these photos that you see in the slide are examples of some of the patterns that we featured in 2024. You're going to have an exclusive YouTube video that you can watch with no commercials. The materials you need to make your bag. It's going to be faux leather, lining, and hardware. And of course, it's always going to be faux leather. These will never be leather. There's always other fun things in the bag or in the box, like sewing notions or workroom accessories, maybe a couple little treats. So there's two ways you can pay. You can pay quarterly, and what happens is you will put your credit card information in every quarter. Your credit card will be charged for the box, which is $80 plus shipping, or you can choose to pay annually. If you pay annually, you pay the full amount up front, but you only pay for shipping one time, which is the first box only. That annual payment is open to U.S. residents only. Okay? So that runs out on the 31st. So you only have till Monday. So if you don't win this box and you want to get the quarterly mystery subscription box, go ahead and sign up, because our next subscription period is until June. It will be June 15th through 30th. Okay, so let's see who the winner is. Loretta Cust. Congratulations, you have won the quarterly mystery subscription box. And this is just one box, understand. It's not all 4 boxes. It's just the one box for this quarter. So make sure that you email share@simplyclassic.net within the next 24 hours so we can ship that out to you. Make sure you put your shipping address and in the email, full name, shipping address, so we can get that out to you. Okay. So congratulations. We are going to move on now to featured products. And we know, or most of you know, that we are actually featuring a pattern of the week. And this week it is the AllyBee. And you can see I have a couple different versions of the AllyBee here. It is a bucket style bag. It's got a really unique shoulder strap that can be worn either as a shoulder bag or as a sling. It's also very versatile, so you can make it more of a traditional bucket bag look with just a few changes. And I'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about our grommet demo installation. It can be made from really any kind of fabric. You can use leather, faux leather, vinyl, cork, or cotton canvas. And it really looks amazing if you use crocodile. I have to tell you, it's like my favorite material to use for it. If you do use it or use cotton canvas, I really suggest that you keep the bottom band and the actual bottom of the bag in a faux or real leather, and even the handle. And this part here would probably be your cotton canvas. I've made it that way before, and it really looks great. So the AllyBee was inspired by this Brahmin bag. It used to be called the Ally, I-E, A-L-L-I-E, but they changed it to the Maddie for some reason. So anyway, that's how I got the name. It was Ally with a Y, because I didn't want to like be super copyish, right? And then B for Brahmin. They have a few versions with a couple of different types of closures. You see this one here has a turn lock, and I have a YouTube video on how to hack the AllyBee pattern to get this look. It's linked in the description below, but we're going to take a little bit closer look at the bag on the overhead. So I am going to pull this bag out first. This is actually the, let me zoom you out a little bit. We got a super large bag here. There we go. So the AllyBee, this is a hack video, okay? So this is the one where I actually did the turn lock as a closure. And the reason why it's a hack is because you can see here there are no grommets. But all you do is you open this up, and then you can see that this is more of like a traditional bucket bag, okay? Now, what makes it the hack is it's kind of done in the same way that AllyBee that we just saw was done, where you have a twist lock here to close it. And then the strap is attached on the back, and I actually attached it with three rivets. So these rivets actually are holding the strap and the flap on. You can see them here on this side, okay? And that's how that bag's put together. Now, more traditionally, and the way the pattern is written, the AllyBee is actually made as a bucket bag. So let me show you this one right here, or excuse me, a drawstring bag. So this is actually the very first AllyBee I ever made with this really cool pink crocodile. This is just decorative, okay? This does not come off. It is actually a poncho because this is your strap. If this was magnetic, if this came off, every single time you picked up your bag, it would come unattached. So the way you open your bag is like a traditional bucket bag. You have a drawstring, you open this up, and then you have the bucket bag. So to close it, you literally have to pull your drawstring closed, and then you just flip your handle, and you are on your way. Okay, it has a great pocket here in the back. That's great for your cell phone. And we're going to switch to the front because I want to show you kind of how I wore this. Is I would just literally wear it over my shoulder like this. And I carried this bag for a very long time. It was really a great bag. Nice and big. Okay. So that is our AllyBee. Okay, so we are also want to mention that we have a Italian leather maker's kit. And to be perfectly honest with you, this picture probably doesn't do it a lot of justice. It's a gorgeous turtle leather. And when I say turtle, it's got like a greenish blue tint to it. It is really, really pretty. And you see we have the kit there. The kit includes the leather. It includes the hardware, the lining, and it is linen lining in this. And it is just a gorgeous bag. So if you're interested in the Italian leather maker's kit, you can go ahead and take a look at that. We also have the white one that I showed you. There is a free pattern piece for that little flap. It's called the No Grommet Hack. So you can go ahead and grab that as well. Once you download the pattern, you can get that pattern piece for free. And we also have hardware kits. And of course, the hardware kits come in bronze, nickel, and gunmetal. Okay. And then I want to show you one new thing too. This is a new piece of hardware we just got in this week. I'm going to go over to the overhead. These are magnetic snaps. Okay, we have them, of course, in all three colors, and they're magnetic, so they're all going to want to stick together. But I think you're going to get the point here. Okay, and the way they work is it's perfect for a flap. Okay, so this, you have like a male end here, and this is just gets attached to your bag with a regular washer, just like a magnetic snap. This part here unscrews. Unscrew it all the way here. Hopefully it won't fall. And all you do is you punch a hole that's about a 1/2 inch in diameter. You put this part of the screw in, and then you just screw the back on, and then you have a magnetic snap. So you have a really beautiful square front, elegant magnetic snap that you can use on any kind of flap closure or anything else. And I know that's catching a lot of glare, but you can kind of see here what they look like. Now, to kind of show you in action, I went ahead and I've been working on a Gemella wallet, and it would be perfect for that. So I'm going to drag over. I'm not quite done with it, but I wanted to show you. So here are all my pieces. It's going to be my cell phone pocket, and then of course I've got my, the 2 wallet pieces here ready to go. So I will put my zipper here at the top, like I typically do, and this is going to fold in half. And of course, this here will be the flap that attaches. And then all you'll have to do is fold this over, and you're going to be able to snap that together. And look at how pretty that is. This is the gunmetal, and this is our gray ostrich. And it's just really beautiful. And of course, you can either have it as a square, or you can turn it just a little bit, and it will be on an angle, and you can make it look like a diamond. Again, this is just attached like a magnetic snap. Okay, like you normally would attach, and this is screwed on. And I'm going to see, I'm not sure if I can unscrew this because I have it on there pretty tight. But all you do is you punch a hole. There we go, I got it. So you can kind of see that just screws off. You see I have a hole here, 1/2 inch hole. And all you do is use your 1/2 inch hole punch, Okay, whether it's like this or the one you get from those little kits at Amazon. You put the back part up through the hole, and then you take the front part and you just screw it right on. It goes right in the middle of that piece. And I would put some Loctite on here to make sure it does not come off. Screw that on, and then you have this gorgeous magnetic snap. It's so pretty, so elegant. Kind of like it on the diamond too. Okay. So again, those are new in the shop. Just want to make you aware. I'm sure we'll have some cool Simply Classic patterns come up that have those on there, but you can pretty much use it on any flap. Okay. So we are going to move on to perfect pairings, and perfect pairings is where we kind of show you different things that go together. It's hard to shop online sometimes. I know it's sometimes hard to see colors and you're not really sure what goes together. So we're going to go ahead and talk about what we think is going to go good together on an AllyBee or any other kind of bag that you may make. And the first thing is going to be, make sure I don't make too much noise here as I pull this over, our brown and white crocodile. So this here is back in stock this week. We just got a huge new faux order in yesterday. And so this is now back in stock, hooray. We suggest our chambray brown tilde lining, the hardware kit in bronze, and then of course our white thread Fusion 45 if you're using a domestic machine, or 70, Tech 70 if you're using a industrial. Okay. So that would make a gorgeous bag no matter what your bag. Spring's coming, the white and brown I think are perfect combinations for that. Okay, the second pairing that we have is always a leather pairing, and this here is our amazing, I love this. This is our embossed crocodile leather. It's black. It is, when I opened the package for it, it said cocoa on it, so you can kind of guess where that comes from. We suggest the chambray dark gray and the hardware kit in gunmetal. Excuse me, this is gunmetal. And then, of course, our Tex 70 or Tex 45 black thread. I will say that the Tex 45 is out of stock right now. We tried to order more and they're out of stock as well. So they said that it'll be back in stock in April. So we should be getting some more Tex 45 in black. A few people went online already and had a back in stock request on that. As soon as we restock it, you will get an email to be notified that it is back in stock. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. But we apologize for that, but the manufacturer sold out quick. So I guess that's good. But this would make a gorgeous bag no matter what kind of bag, obviously, you're making. But we think an AllyBee would be fantastic. And to show you what it looks like, I actually have made one. And this is one I made a while ago. I ended up using bronze hardware for this. But it is an absolutely gorgeous AllyBee. I just love this. Of course, out of leather. Now, I ended up doing a combination here. I did the hack, meaning I have a separate flap from my handle, okay? But the way I close it is an actual drawstring. So I kind of used both. I did the drawstring and the flap. And then you just open this up, have your AllyBee, close it back up, do your flap, and then you have got your AllyBee bag. Okay. Absolutely gorgeous option. Now, one thing I want to mention is we are starting something new, and every week we are going to have some of our perfect pairing items, what I'm trying to say, on sale for 10% off that week. So tonight it's going to be the leather hide. It's going to be 10% off in the hardware kits. So if you're interested in either one of those, you don't need a coupon. You can just go online, order them, and you're going to get 10% off. So every week it's going to be different things that we have the 10% off on, but we thought that that would be an excellent thing for you to take advantage of. Okay. So we're going to move on to the Thursday thread. And the Thursday thread is where we show or share either a sewing story or history. And of course, lately, we've been talking all about history. And today we're going to talk about how bag closures and fasteners have evolved over the years. So we've already talked about bag making history and kind of the different designs from all around the world in previous episodes. And one of the things we learned is that for thousands of years, most bags were just simple pouches. So it makes sense because pouches are just one of the easiest shapes to create. All you really need is some cloth. So here are some examples of pouches from different places all around the world. The one on the left was made in China. It is almost 2,000 years old, and it doesn't appear to have a fastener of any kind. The pouch in the center is from Peru, and it uses a tie closure, which is basically a rudimentary drawstring. And then the Russian pouch on the right is from the 1700s, and it has a modern drawstring closure, or something we see, obviously more these days. So drawstring bags have been around for a really long time, long before the Russian bag. Drawstrings were used on pouches in ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome. And nowadays we see a lot of bags that use leather drawstrings threaded through metal grommets, kind of like the AllyBee. So metal grommets were invented in 1830 to replace traditional eyelets, which have been around for hundreds of years. Grommets were originally created to use on military gear, and we're going to talk more about how to install grommets in our Sharpen Your Skills segment. So another type of closure are flaps, and that of course has been around forever as well. And as far as secureness, flaps are probably not really secure on their own, but they can have different locks and different things to hold them closed. So let's take a look at this slide. This is called a Camacho bag, and it has a really interesting story behind it. It gets its name from a city in Italy where an ancient Roman shipwreck was discovered in 1980. On the ship, archaeologists found a leather bag that looked like this. There were two cords that tied the flap to the main body. The bag they found was still intact, even though it was almost 2,000 years old. This is a leather bag from 1500s that uses metal snap closures. It belonged to Thomas Wolsey. He was a Catholic cardinal who worked in the British government under King Henry VIII. He was officially an almoner, which is a word that actually means purse, because he was responsible for distributing money to people in need. And then finally, we have a few more modern examples from Mexico. These are both techniques that we've been around for thousands of years. The bag on the left uses a leather strap to secure the flap, and then the bag on the right uses buckles. And I thought it was really neat because the exterior pocket also has a little buckle on it. So toggles are another traditional way to close a bag, and it's really hard to see what's going on this photo, but it's actually a traditional Inuit leather bag with toggles made out of carved bones. So again, we don't see a lot of designer bags with toggle closures, but they can really look very, very classy. So we're going to switch to the overhead real quick because I do want to show you a bag that we have that has a toggle closure. So this is the farfalla, and the farfalla, I'm going to try to zoom out just a tad. So the farfalla is a bag that has a toggle closure, and basically, I have a wooden button here using that as the toggle. Typically, you have a loop that holds that toggle in place, and then the toggle is attached with either leather or some kind of string here. Now, what's interesting about the farfalla is, kind of on a separate note, that's not really how this bag is held closed. I mean, you can see the bag is closed even without that being fastened. The bag is closed using a second loop, okay, that is held here with the strap. So if we loosen that strap, we can open up this bag, and this becomes kind of a different kind of bucket bag. Okay, so when you take and close this up, and pull that tight, it will automatically close your bag, and as you're carrying your bag with this against your back, you can see the bag is held closed. This toggle is really more for decorative purposes. So actually, when we were looking at the history of fasteners and closures, loops were not one of them. So we feel like all modern and like we've invented something with loop closures. All right, we're going to move on to buttons. And buttons are kind of similar to a toggle. It's not something we see a lot on bags here in the US, but apparently they're more common in other countries like Japan. So this is a bag from a Japanese brand called Kitamaru, and you can see that they made a button using the same leather as the bag. And of course, we can't talk about buttons without mentioning Sam Browne buttons. These aren't your traditional buttons, but they are very useful pieces of hardware. So let's talk about Sam Browne. Sam Browne was a 19th century British Indian Army officer who lost his left arm in battle. He was right-handed, but after he lost his left arm, he had a really hard time drawing his sword. So he ended up inventing a special belt that made it easier for him. And he used these specific buttons that we now call Sam Browne buttons. So they're still used in military gear today, and they're also very commonly used on handbags. So we are going to switch to the overhead, and I'm going to show you Sam Browne buttons on the Lacey bag. So here is Lacey. You've seen this before, but we have these Sam Browne buttons. I'm going to kind of zoom in just a little bit so you can see them a little bit better. So from the outside, they just look like kind of rivets almost. But what happens is that you can actually pull these apart, and they're tight, and they're supposed to be, okay? But as you pull them apart, the leather's stiff, but the leather will kind of loosen up. You can take and adjust where they go. So whenever you use a Sam Browne button, you have a hole, you can see here, that has a tiny little slit. And what that slit does is it gives this button enough space to get in that hole. Again, you want it tight. The idea is not for it to be loose, but it's enough to get this shaft with this button at the top through the hole. So when you put it back together, it's almost like a snap. You just snap it together, and then you have it completed, and this won't come apart. Okay, so that's how Sam Browne buttons are made and used. So you can get Sam Browne buttons at Gold Star Tool or your favorite leather supply store. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about snaps. And snaps, of course, are similar to buttons. We use snaps, obviously, a lot in bag making, and they're really common in a lot of different areas of life. They're easy to use, they're durable. And I was really surprised to learn that magnetic snaps were invented in Japan in 1974. So I am officially older than magnetic snaps. Isn't that crazy? I was surprised by that. We have traditional magnetic snaps here in the Simply Classic shop. We're going to go to the overhead real quick. You're going to see, most of you know what magnetic snaps look like. And then, of course, in addition, we have our new magnetic snaps that we just featured on a few minutes ago. That's these square ones, and of course traditional magnetic snaps are the kind that just easily snap together and usually are hidden from the front. Okay, so now let's talk about clasps. So first we have the hasp latch or hasp lock. And we can see here on this bag from Japan that these were typically used on old trunks and luggage, but we also see them on modern day sheds and trailers. It's pretty much anything that uses a padlock. So in the 1800s, it was common to see these latches on smaller bags because people needed a way to lock up their belongings when they traveled by train. So we don't really see this closure very often on modern bags, except for maybe briefcases. That would be a really good example of one. But they were a trend in the 70s. And this is a Coach bag from 1973. And it was called the Coach hasp bag. And we kind of looked at this for a while, in the shop, and we were trying to figure out how this was considered a hasp latch because it doesn't appear to really have a hinge, but somehow it must. We just can't figure out exactly how it worked. So we were pondering this for a while. Another type of clasp is a swivel clasp, and I'm sure you've used swivel clasp before to attach your bag straps, of course, to your bag, but it can also be used to keep your bag closed. And I'll show you an example on the bandit bag, which is the bag we make in our beginner leather class. We're going to go to the overhead real quick, and I'm just going to show you how you would use that. Basically, you use it in combination with the D-ring. You can see here that we have a closure where you just basically click that closed, and you see this on a lot of designer bags too, and then it holds your bag closed just to prevent it from opening this way. Okay, so that's obviously a very common thing as well. So next we're going to look at frames, and these used to be a lot more common than they are now, but basically a framed bag is one that snaps shut. So it includes a clamshell closure and a kiss closure, like we see here. So the one on the left is the one we actually saw in a past episode when we were going over history, and had that castle on the top. It was really cool. And then the one on the right is a kiss closure. That's the kind you kind of twist to open. And that was one from history in the USA, believe it or not. I think it's the first time we mentioned the USA in bag history. So I have a question for you. This is super interesting. I want you to write in the chat, if you had to guess, what year do you think zippers were invented? No cheating, no going online, but what would you guess? Take a second to go ahead and put your answer down, because I was really interested to know what this was. So zippers are something we take for granted because we use them our whole lives. We use them like every single day. We use them on clothing, we use them on bags, we use them on, everything. It's just crazy. But I was actually really surprised to find how new they are. So we'll take a look at a couple of answers. 1824, Diane says. Okay. 1970, Lulu Flowers. 1945. Ooh, Nancy, 1780. I like that. And then Cindy says 1920. Okay. So the earliest attempt, a lot of these are good guesses. The earliest attempt at making a zipper was in 1851, but it isn't something we even recognize as a zipper today. Okay. It was just like a couple of drawstrings that were tied. It was just, we won't even count that. Over the years, inventors improved on that design, and the modern zipper as we know it today was patented in 1923. Okay, so I think what Diane was pretty close. I can't remember who it was. A couple of you guys were really close. 1923. So 102 years ago was when the first zipper was invented, or when the zipper was patented. So of course it didn't take long. Within a few years, zippers were everywhere, and they were used on boots, they were used on clothing, and of course bags. And of course, the first handbag designer to use the zipper closure, if you remember from the previous episode, was Hermes. So Hermes actually introduced this bolide bag with a zipper closure in 1923. The bolide was a design that was used as a travel bag, and at the time, basically when most people used trunks. But the zipper was made so that it was easy to access, and then the padlock kept their belongings safe. So back then, those padlocks were actually functional. So speaking of padlocks, the very first thing I want to talk about are locks. Or the final thing I want to talk about is locks. And when we say lock, we don't necessarily mean something you need a key to open. For bag making, a lock is just a piece of hardware that closes securely. So the early version of a modern bag was invented, in 1805 in England, and a more modern version was invented in 1848 in the USA. So there are three main types of locks that we use. We carry two of these in the Simple Classic shop. So let's kind of take a quick look at what those are. So the first thing are thumb locks, and obviously we are very familiar with thumb locks. Thumb locks are the kind of lock that you have to press something. Usually on a lock, you have to do something to open the lock or do something to open the bag. And in this case, of course, with a thumb lock, you push the part down here. It unlocks your bag, put it back, and it locks it back. Of course, we have these slim thumb locks. They work the same way, and then we have the thicker ones. The other kind that is actually one of my favorites is a turn lock. Same thing with a turn lock. You have to do something to open it. And in this case, what we're doing is we're having to actually turn the lock to open the bag. Put it back on and you turn it. So it's a very secure thing to use. These are also turn locks, and I don't know how many of you have seen these before. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see them a little bit better. But the way these open is the turn slides to the side. This piece is the piece that gets put onto your flap. So you would actually cut a small hole in your flap like this size instead of this size. You attach that on your flap. You put this on the bottom part of the bag, and you basically just feed this through, and then you twist this up, and then you're locked. So it is a twist lock. It's just a different take on twist locks. And then the third kind that we do not carry in the shop is what's called a flip lock. And basically, flip locks are kind of like a turn lock where you have a part in the front of your bag that has a hole. The part from the back goes through the front, and then it just flips down. And, I'm not super excited about, those aren't my favorite. I feel like they open up a lot and by accident, so we don't carry those. But they really are nice. So there's nothing wrong with them. It's just, not my favorite. Okay. So I want to show you this really interesting resource we found from a company called Uncle Nine Leather. And they made this handy guide comparing all the different bag closures. So you can see the different types listed here, how secure each one is, the ease of use, the aesthetic appeal, and the best use case. Now, of course, these aren't rules. These are just suggestions. You can see that twist locks, they say that the security level is high. It's a moderate ease of use, again, because you have to do something to open the bag, and they're typically on luxurious designer handbags. But look here, it says that the drawstring is a low security level, which, yeah, I guess I'd probably agree with that. The ease of use is high, and it's for more of a casual bag, for backpacks and totes. So, again, these are not rules. Rules are made to be broken if they are rules, right? I mean, this is just suggestions. And of course, you take that drawstring, you put it on an AllyBee, and it's a very elegant looking bag. So this is just a really good starting point if you're not really sure what kind of closure to add to a bag. But, again, suggestions only. So that's where we're going to kind of end our Thursday thread for tonight, because there's so many different kinds of bag closures and fasteners out there, and we don't have time to go over and feature all of them. But I do want to hear from you. Are there any interesting or unique fastener styles that you like, or maybe a designer bag with a closure that inspired you? If you'll just let me know, we would appreciate it. I think we're having a few technical difficulties, so I apologize for that. All right. So we are going to move on to sharpen your skills. And in sharpen your skills, we are going to talk about a couple different sewing tips and tricks, different techniques we usually use to help you sharpen your skills. So I want to talk about using grommets on drawstring bucket bag. And depending on the number of grommets you use and where you place them can change the way your bag looks and operates. So we're going to look at a few styles first. The first one here is this Gucci bag, and this bag has 8 grommets. Now, the AllyBee bag has 8 grommets, so really this is exactly the same look and style as the AllyBee. I'm sure you remember when I opened that AllyBee how it was kind of a square, and that's exactly what this did. Okay. This next photo is a Brahmin bag, and it has 12 grommets. And look at how different it looks from the front. So instead of the sides folding in, they poke out. So it's still a bucket bag. You can see from the top, the overall, when you open it up, it's really the same bag. It's just the number of grommets and the placement of the grommets changes the look of the bag. And then we're going to show you the Chanel bag. This one has 16 grommets. And you can see, it's almost like the more grommets you use, you almost have to go with a softer, leather or material, not as much stabilizer. You can see it's a much softer bag. Really almost looks more like, you know, obviously it's a drawstring, but you can really pull that tight. It totally changes the look of the bag. So all of the bags that we see here have kind of evenly spaced grommets. So if you adjust the difference between your grommets, obviously that changes the look of the bag too. So I have a tutorial that shows you how to do this hack here for this leopard print bag. We're going to take this down here and I'm going to show you from the top what that looks like. It is a little bit different than the AllyBee. And I'm going to zoom out just a tad here for you, so you can kind of see that, yes, the sides pull in, but it's a little bit different shape because the grommets are spaced evenly apart instead of being closer together in some sections. Okay, so as you look from the top, it's almost like a X. It forms an X here instead of the AllyBee tends to be more of a fold from the top. It's just a different look. It's slight, but it is there. Okay. But what this does, of course, in the hack also, I show you how to do this other kind of strap with some actual strap connectors on the side. So check out that hack if you get a second after the live stream. And it's just, again, a different way to do an AllyBee. So we are going to talk about how to install grommets. And I want to show you this because I think a lot of people are very intimidated by grommets. They don't want to do grommets. They're afraid to punch holes in their bag. So we're going to zoom in and I'm going to show you what you need. So I have a couple pieces of faux leather here, okay, and what I did is I punched a hole in them using my 1/2 inch hole punch. Now you can use a hole punch like this, or you can use a hole punch from one of the kits that you can get on Amazon, and most of these hole punches have a 1/2 inch hole punch in them, okay. As I mentioned before, we do have these on order. They should be here shortly, and we will be actually carrying these in the shop. This is it's going to be a different brand, but it's basically the 1/2 inch hole punch that you're going to be able to use to install not only grommets, but also our new magnetic snaps. So what you're going to do, of course, is you're just going to snap that, punch a hole, and you're going to have a hole in wherever it is you need to have the hole for your bag. There are two pieces to the grommets. You have kind of a thicker piece here, and then you have what looks like a little bit thinner piece here, okay? So this kind of barrel piece is what's going to go in the front. You're just going to go ahead and put that right in the hole. You're going to see it's going to fit in there perfectly. And then, and I'm going to try to zoom you in just a little bit more, what you'll do is you're going to take the top and you're going to put it right on top. It's going to fit right over that barrel part that sticks out. Okay, see that? Easy enough. All right, block your ears. We're going to go ahead and we use a mallet and just go ahead and tap this in. Okay, and I probably would do that a couple more times. I don't want it was loud, but basically your grommet is installed. So what that does is it prevents you from having to put all those little screws in, right? Those little screws can really be difficult to deal with, and they are, I mean, these grommets are just fabulous. They're just so easy to use, and so I highly encourage you to give them a try. Don't use a hammer. Use either a rubber mallet or some kind of, this is a rawhide mallet, and you'll be fine on that. Okay. So if you like the way that hack looks, this one here, like I said, go ahead and check out the tutorial. And then, of course, I'd love to see your finished half bags. I love half bags. Make sure you post them in the Facebook group. Okay, so we are going to move on to Artistry Avenue, and Artistry Avenue is where we feature you, our customers. Please share your photos in the Simply Classic Bag Making community on Facebook, or email them to share@simplyclassic.net. All of our artists in our Artistry Avenue featured will be basically given a PDF pattern of your choice. This is open worldwide. So let's take a look at our artist tonight that we're featuring. And this first one is Tiffany Tenace. And Tiffany Tenace made an AllyBee. She owns Test Pat Studio. About a month or so ago, we went ahead and interviewed Tiffany, and she has a business up in Washington State. Now, I first met her in Puyallup when we were doing a show up there, and she came to the booth, and she had this gorgeous bucket bag that she was carrying. And she said, Chris, I want you to make a pattern like this. It is my favorite bag. I love it. I want it. So what she did is she altered the AllyBee, and she actually turned it into the bucket bag that she was looking for. So it has a bonus because it has a pocket on the outside where the one that she had on her did not have it. So that was a little bit different. She used our distressed Italian leather for this. And she sent in on her email, she said, I learned that leather burns, so I didn't even know my iron got that hot. Luckily, I'm the only one who will really tell, thank God for distressed leather. Okay. Good job. I love hats. I think they're fantastic. So we also want to show Debbie. And Debbie made this booster bag. The exterior is leather, and I love the way she did her logo. She printed it on there. She's got a great turn lock on here. And what I like so much about this booster is that she modified the strap connectors. So instead of using grommets, she ended up making two strap connectors, putting an O-ring around them, sticking them between the upper lining and the exterior of the bag, stitching them in, and then putting a ribbon on there. And look at how beautiful that looks. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. So great job hacking that, Debbie. I love it. Love the color too. And then Robin sent us this video or this photo, and a couple weeks ago we featured the Julie with cinched sides, and she went ahead and did that hack. So she actually was inspired by the Patricia Nash tote that we showed and watched the hack video, and she used this palm tree vinyl and our blue brick vinyl for the exterior. And there's a lot of blue in that palm. It's really hard to tell, but it's really beautiful. The colors really go well together. And I love what she did with the hardware. I mean, everything about this is just fantastic. So she also shared a tip for everyone. She said, I would definitely use a stabilizer lighter than Decaville Light. I think the drape would cinch better. And so, you know, I agree with that. I think it's probably a good tip for sure. But I really think your bag came out great, Robin. It looks amazing. It doesn't look like it's having problems cinched up. But if you want more of a cinch, yes, you're absolutely going to have to use a lighter stabilizer. So great tip. Thank you for sharing that. So congratulations to all of our artists. Please email us within 30 days to let us know which pattern you would like. And you're going to email share@simplyclassic.net. Okay? So before we move on to our Q&A, we're going to give away 2 PDF patterns for the AllyBee. So to enter, go ahead and type the word sewing in the chat, and we will have the computer pick our winner while we do the Q&A. Since this is a PDF download, the giveaway is open worldwide. And just please enter one time the word sewing, S-E-W-I-N-G. So we did have a couple questions submitted to us this week. Donna asked, basically she wanted to know when to use text 45 versus text 70 thread and whether the thickness of your leather impacts that. So the difference is how I use the 2 threads is not necessarily the product or the thickness of the leather. It's more about the machine. And so I use my text 45 on my domestic machine, and I use my text 70 on my industrial machine. And so, you know, obviously the text 70 is a little bit thicker thread, and so it's stronger, but it's, you know, the text 45 is super strong. So I think it really has more to do with the machine than materials. But if anybody else has another suggestion on that, go ahead and type it in the chat, because obviously we all learn from each other, and I'd love to hear how you use the thread. And then Terry also asked, she said, I absolutely love the Julie, but my daughter wants a bigger tote. I love your classy bags, so can you recommend something a bit bigger? And yes, absolutely. Probably the biggest bag we have is the Fairhaven, and we actually featured that last week. It is just a really big tote bag. I mean, it's really a great It's really a great bag if you're looking for a bigger bag. Another suggestion would be the Leah. And the Leah is a kind of like shorter and wider bag. And it has a water bottle divider. And if you keep the water bottle divider in, it's really not, the part that you put your stuff in isn't super huge. So what I would suggest you do on that is to hack that and remove the water bottle divider totally, and then just use it that way. A lot of people have done that to actually turn it into like a computer bag, which is fantastic. So Valerie asks, do you plan to sell that rivet press that you were trying out? So we are looking into it. That's a great question. We've talked to our supplier about it, and we're not really sure. They had given us a minimum originally, and then they went up on that, and so things have changed a little bit. I really like the press, but I'm not really 100% sure. We're going to probably get some kind of rivet press in the future. We're just not sure which one yet. Okay, so we would like to go ahead and announce our winners. So we have two winners for the AllyBee PDF pattern. One is Cynthia Bell, and the other one is Dottie Collagen. So congratulations to both of you. You have won an AllyBee pattern. Please email share@simplyclassic.net, and we will go ahead and get those patterns to you right away. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week on the Bag Maker's Workroom. We will be back next Thursday, April 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about the art of asymmetrical bags. And I'm going to tell you, if you watch YouTube, I actually have a hack video I'm posting this week, and we're going to take one of our Simply Classic patterns and we're going to turn it into an asymmetrical bag. So be watching out for that. We do have one more question. Cynthia Bell says, I am so happy. I cannot wait to make this. Well, that is great. Congratulations, Cynthia. I'm glad. I mean, AllyBee is like one of the most classic patterns we have. It's one of the first patterns I ever did. Absolutely love it. Have used it. Every time I wear it, people love it. And it's just, I think it's one of the best. So. All right, so don't forget to submit your Simply Classic makes by posting them in the Facebook group or emailing share@simplyclassic.net. And of course, again, send questions, stories, maybe requests for perfect pairings, whatever kind of things you would like to know about. We're here to help. So thank you all so much again for joining us. We will see you next week. And until then, happy sewing.